Okay, people, ladies and gentlemen, Lions Den here with another news and commentary. Talking about the Michael Jackson, situation with the documentary of Leaving Neverland. Now, I'm just basically stunned and disappointed of celebrities like Oprah Winfrey, like DL Hughley, and all them other celebrities that now condemning Michael Jackson of these allegations. And this tweet is from Praz Michelle, and she said that MJ was thoroughly monitored by the FBI for 10 years. His house was searched unannounced, his naked body photographed, his phone calls tapped, 300 pages of FBI reports, list of what they found, nothing, leave the man alone, hashtag MJ innocent, hashtag leaving Neverland. She continues saying as last month, Elvis Presley received an all-star tribute to his life and career on NBC, all while his history of drugging and sleeping with underage girls was well known. There is and will never be a documentary on him like the one about MJ tonight. Hashtag Leaving Neverland. She concluded on her tweet saying Michael Jackson was under FBI surveillance for well over a decade. They found nothing to substantiate claims of child abuse. He was also fully exonerated following his 2005 trial. Hashtag Leaving Neverland fails to highlight these facts, and MJ is no longer here to defend himself. So, Prize Michelle knows Michael Jackson, and knows, and I think believes she's related to him. So here's the thing, guys, and I'm gonna show you the FBI files in a second. Now, what she said about Elvis Presley was true, and I'm gonna go ahead and go back to that. And she says that last month Elvis Presley received an all-star tribute to his life and career on NBC, all while his history of drugging and sleeping with underage girls was well known. There is and will never be a documentary on him like the one about MJ tonight. So, what I'm trying to say is this. Like, Michael Jackson has been cleared of all charges of child molestation. The FBI was monitoring Michael Jackson for decades and found nothing. So, it's funny when we talk about, with the Leaving Neverland on HBO, it's really one-sided. It's one-sided. No physical evidence, no DNA that he was touched these boys. And Roberson, the alleged victim, was, he used to date, and I'm gonna be honest with you, one of the alleged victims used to date Michael Jackson's niece. He was a backup dancer to Britney Spears. There's been rumors speculating that he basically messed with Britney Spears behind, Michael Jackson's niece's back. So it was crazy. But I know I went off, offline with the Michael Jackson thing. I'm just doing this to prove a point that, everything that the alleged victim said about Michael Jackson were completely false. There were lies. And if Michael Jackson did do those things, the FBI would have tell you about it. The FBI would have put evidence in front of the media, the mainstream media, to say, look, Michael Jackson molested this boy right here, the timing, the place that happened, blah, blah, blah. And all this all this back then when Hard Copy and Eternal Affair, not Eternal Affair, excuse me, Hard Copy and A Current Affair, all them tabloid TVs was straight going after Michael Jackson without evidence. And these tabloids, whether it's in the UK, we're here in the United States, they were always going after Michael Jackson. We got Diane Diamond, who's investigative reporter for Hard Copy, we're always constantly going after Michael Jackson. Always. And Michael Jackson fans back in the days, and I'm going ahead and start with the FBI, files in a second. But, Michael Jackson fans hated Diane Diamond because, she'd go on the air during that time and said, oh, Michael Jackson molested these boys and blah, 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 blah. And then everybody, even the Jackson family, said, where's the evidence? Where's the proof? There is none. So, and it's proven that the FBI is monitoring Michael Jackson, again, for decades because, again, if Michael Jackson did molest these boys, the FBI would have been all on it. It would have been leaked. It would have been leaked to the press. It would have been leaked to hard copy. It would have leaked to a current affair, all them tabloid TVs, along with the mainstream media, about that time. So, now, if you want to check out the FBI's findings, go to vault.fbi.gov. That's vault.fbi.gov. And this is what they said. They said Michael Jackson was a famous singer and entertainer between 1993 and 1994, and separately between 2004 and 2005. Jackson was investigated by California law enforcement agencies for possible child molestation. He was acquitted of all charges. The FBI provided technical and investigative assistance to these agencies during the cases. The Bureau also investigated threats made against Mr. Jackson and others by an individual who was later imprisoned for these crimes. These investigations occurred between 1992 and 2005. So the FBI explained to everybody that they monitored Michael Jackson twice in those years and found nothing. And I'm going to go ahead and slide one of these files they found. Obviously, these files that I'm flipping on right now is from the FBI vault. And so far, nothing. They heard rumor, they heard speculations. Realistically, it's nothing. And I'm continue flipping these things here. And it proven time and time again that it's really nothing they found about Michael Jackson. Not one shred of evidence. Not one. Now, this article, comes from Vanity Fair. And it says 10 undeniable facts about Michael Jackson's sexual abuse allegations. And so the author is breaking down the evidence and explain about Leaving Neverland. So here it is. Like, it says the anguished voice of Wade Robson. And before I continue, Wade Robson is one of the quote-unquote alleged victims. And this is the same Wade Robson became Janet Jackson's backup dancer. And also, he used to date Michael Jackson's niece. Now, remember, Tariq Nasheed did a radio show interviewing Michael Jackson's niece at the time. And along with Tariq's co-host, one of the co-hosts of Tariq knew Michael Jackson's niece. Matter of fact, they hang out together met Michael Jackson in person. So they know exactly what they're talking about. Now, the thing of it is that she said, yes, Wade Robson used to date me. That's exactly what Michael Jackson's niece was saying. They've been knowing each other since they were kids. So Wade Robson was part of the Jackson family since day one. And obviously, of course, Michael Jackson's niece saying that, she caught Wade Robson cheating on her with Britney Spears. Used to be Britney Spears' backup dancer. I know I went way off guard with this situation, but I'm doing this for a reason. And the reason is that all these allegations and all these evidence that Michael Jackson molested Wade Robson, along with this other, along with Saychuk, Jimmy Saychuk, it's another alleged victim. All of these victims were lying. They were all these stories they recanted. You heard Michael Jackson's nephew, who was interviewed with Roland Martin. He said that all the stories that Wade Robson said, that it's all been recanted. He's been lying so many times. And all this stuff wasn't true. So again, this article comes from Vanity Fair. It says the anguished voice of Wade Robinson's father will haunt me. Back in 1993, when the first charges of sexual abuse was leveled at Michael Jackson by a 13-year-old boy named Jordy Chandler, I was assigned to write about the case for Vanity Fair. I naturally wanted to know if Jackson had befriended any other young boys, and it wasn't long before I heard the name Wade Robinson and Jimmy Safechuck, which is the two of the alleged victims, did the documentary, Leaving Neverland. Wade's mother, Joy, wasn't talking, but his father, Dennis, surprised me by returning my call from his home in Australia. Dennis explained that Joy had taken Wade and his sister to Los Angeles so Wade could be with Jackson, adding that he was afraid that he might lose his son if he said anything against the pop superstar. Dennis' sorrow was compounded by his own dark secrets. He himself had been molested as a child. He told me and had been unable to bring himself to tell anyone for 30 years. Then a week later, Dennis Robinson called me back. Dennis Robinson, which is Wade Robinson's father, called me back. He had just gotten through to his wife, and now he wanted to change his story and give me a quote praising Jackson. I asked him what had prompted this sudden change of heart. He paused. It was all just a mix-up. Now, I'm going to stop you right there. So, Dennis Robinson, which is Wade Robinson's father, concocted about the alleged allegations, but then talked to the reporter that did, on Vanity Fair in the past, was interviewing with the children at the time who's been quote unquote molested. Now he changed his mind, but I think because they made a deal of a payout. But I'm gonna continue reading this article, but this is really, really interesting. He says, quote, "It was all just a mix-up." He said Dennis, who had been diagnosed as bipolar shortly before his wife left, never got over losing his family, all because his son, then 5, had won a local dance contest, and the first prize was a meeting with his idol, Michael Jackson. So Wade Robinson was a backup dancer. As you know, he was a backup dancer to Britney Spears, to Janet Jackson. He was part of MTV, and basically the thing of it is because Michael Jackson is the reason why that Wade Robinson become famous during that time, or be a part of the Jackson family. So I'm going to continue with this article. It's really interesting. It says in 2002, Dennis Robinson committed suicide in a new HBO documentary, Leaving Neverland. Wade Robinson said he never fully understood what caused his father's pain. His father died without even being close to his son again. Okay, the 2-part documentary, which premieres on HBO this Sunday, gives Robinson and Safechuck together with their surviving family members the opportunity to tell their stories of being first befriended and then seduced emotionally and then alleged sexually by Michael Jackson, which struck me most as someone who spent more than a decade reporting on allegations against Jackson, was how closely Robinson and Safechuck's stories mirrored those of Jordy Chandler and Galvin Arvizo, the 13-year-old whose allegations prompted the 2005 trial in which Jackson was acquitted on 10 felony counts, including 4 counts of child molestation and 1 attempted child molestation. Another boy, Jason Francia, whose mother worked as a housekeeper. I'm just trying to get it together. But Jason Francia, whose mother worked as a housekeeper for Jackson, testified under oath that he was molested by Jackson, bringing to 5 the number of young men who sworn that Jackson shown them pornography, masturbating them, or introduced them to sex when they were between the ages of 7 and 12. So they explained that there's other boys involved in those allegations against Michael Jackson at the time. So it says so many details of each case were the same. The targeting of boys from troubled families, the skillful grooming, the gifts, the seduction, the jacuzzis, the way sex will perform, the fear and threats of what would befall them if they ever told anyone what Jackson has done. I'm going to go ahead. Okay. I'm trying to read this. Give me 1 second, ladies and gentlemen. Okay. The dismissal following a similar pattern to as puberty approach, Robeson and Safechuck say in the documentary they were abruptly thrown to the curb and replaced with a new younger kid. Continue on. So many details of each case were this. Okay, I'm just other. Okay, even I'm trying to get this right because this is trying to get it all together. I'm sorry, folks, but I'm going to continue reading this. It said even their families got similar treatment. The sisters were put off to the side by Michael, the supposed adorer of all children. The parents were whisked around in limos and private jets, taken shopping and treated to vintage wine from Neverland cellar. Jordy Chandler's mother got trips to Monaco and Las Vegas. Now, I'm going to stop you right there. Jordy Chandler's mother, you know, Jordy Chandler was one of Michael Jackson's so-called alleged victims, right? So the mother got trips to Monaco, Las Vegas, along with a diamond bracelet. Okay, Jimmy Safechuck's parents got a whole house. The documentary never mentioned the cars they received or a permanent residence visa that Wade Robeson's mother testified in 2005 to have received by funneling whatever wages she had received through the Michael Jackson Corporation. Joy Robeson, which is Wade Robeson's mother, I'm just going to go ahead and read this. Okay, Joy Robeson, which is Wade Robeson's mom, also acknowledged accepting a car, a $10,000 payment from Jackson, and a $10,000 loan from Jackson's investigator. I'm going to stop you right there. It seems to me that the parents of these alleged kids that's been accusing Michael Jackson of molesting them basically is using Michael Jackson. Basically extorting Michael Jackson from the get-go. And the evidence is clear. This is from Vanity Fair. This is the reporter that did the interview by Vanity Fair a couple of years ago, asking questions about not only about the alleged victims, but the parents of these alleged victims, you know, took advantage of Michael Jackson from the beginning. So I'm going to continue reading this article. It says both Robeson and Safechuck previously testified under oath that Jackson never touched him, but there is good reason to believe they are telling the truth now. Ron Zonin, a prosecutor in a 2005 trial who has tried many sex abuse cases, told me he understood why Wade Robeson and Jimmy Safechuck came out when they did instead of when we needed them. Especially for male victims, he said it has to be on their terms. I'm going to continue reading this. Okay. Okay, it has to be on their terms. They finally decided to disclose when the pain becomes unbearable, and it's not going to get better until they talk to someone and tell the truth about it. Jackson's hardcore supporters allege that Robeson and Safechuck memorized details from the other boys' stories in order to get revenge after their own previous attempts to sue Jackson's estate for damages was thrown out of court. You see that, ladies and gentlemen? It was thrown out of court. Not because the charges had no merit, but because the statute of limitations had run out. That seems far-fetched to me. Why would, and this is the truth, why would anyone put himself through this? Robeson and Safechuck are not being, okay, I'm just going to read this. So this is really, okay, here we go. It says, why would anyone put himself through this? Robeson and Safechuck are not being paid by HBO. They had to come to grips not only with what happened to them, but also with the complicity of those closest to them. That kind of stress can and those destroyed families. Anyone who has spent time hearing victims tell their stories of sexual assault knows that it is extremely painful to recall detail after detail. You never know which one will stick in your mind, causing depression, nightmare, and PTSD. It can be sometimes simple as a song. The Jackson family, for its part, has filed a $100 million lawsuit against HBO trying to prevent the documentary from being aired. Given all the money and vaulted reputation at stake, that may have seemed like the best course of action. Let viewers see and judge for themselves why two men will go to these lengths and suffer the hate being hurled at them. Robeson and Safechuck said it is because they are fathers themselves now. The experience of having children summons these tangled and their terrible memories up from the depths of their psyches and spur the needs to come clean, to point their moral compasses north. Now it's the public's turn. To help viewers contextualize the documentary's presentation of what ultimately amounts to a narrow slice of sprawling saga, here are the 10 undeniable facts about the sexual abuse allegations against Michael Jackson. So are you ready? Here we go. Number 1, there is no dispute that at age 34, Michael Jackson slept more than 30 nights in a row in the same bed with 13-year-old Jordy Chandler at the boy's house with Chandler's mother present. He also slept in the same bed with Jordy Chandler at Chandler's father's house. The parents were divorced. Number 2, so far, 5 boys Michael Jackson shared beds with have accused him of abuse. Jordy Chandler, Jason Francia, Gavin Avizo, Wayne Robinson, and Jimmy Safechuck. Jackson had the same nickname for Chandler and Avizo, Rubba. He called Robinson Little One and Safechuck Applehead. Number 3, Jackson paid, and get this, guys, Jackson paid $25 million to settle the Chandler's lawsuit, with $18 million going to Jordy, $2.5 million to each of the parents, and the rest to lawyers. Jackson said he paid that sum to avoid something long and drawn out. Francia also received $2.4 million from Jackson. So it proves to me so far, I'm going to stop you right there. So it proves to me so far they extorted Michael Jackson with all these false allegations. And this is a guy who reported from Vanity Fair at that time that when he was around Michael Jackson. I'm going to continue doing this. It says, number 4, Michael Jackson suffered from skin discoloration disease, vitiligo. Jordan Chandler drew a picture of the markings on the underside of Jackson's penis. His drawings were sealed in an envelope. A few months later, investigators photographed Jackson's genitalia. The photograph matched Chandler's drawing. Now, why would a 13-year-old kid draw Michael Jackson's penis? Undersize of Jackson's penis, even though he suffering from a skin disease called vitiligo. I don't get that. But anyway, I'm going to go on. Number 5. The hallway leading to Jackson's bedroom was a serious security zone covered by video and wired for sound so that the steps of anyone approaching will make a ding-dong sounds. Now, number 6. Jackson had an extensive collection of adult erotic material he kept in a suit next to his bed, including S&M bondage, photos, and a study of naked boys. Forensic expert with experience in the Secret Service found the fingerprints of boys alongside Jackson's on the same pages. Jackson also had bondage scalpels of women with ball gags in their mouths on his desk in full view of the boys who slept there. Okay, number 7. According to the Neverland staff interviewed by the Santa Barbara authorities, no one ever saw or knew of a woman spending the night with Michael Jackson, including his 2 spouses, Debbie Rowe or Lisa Marie Presley. Rowe, the mother of 2 of Jackson's children, made it clear to the Santa Barbara authorities that she never had sex with Jackson. Number 8. The parents of the boys Jackson shared beds with were courted adulously and giving Murad expensive gifts, Wayne Robertson, mother, testified in the 2005 trial that she funneled wages through Jackson's company and was given a permanent residence visa. Jimmy Safechuck's parents got a house. Jody Chandler's mother got a diamond bracelet. Number 9. Two of the fathers of those who accused Jackson, Jody Chandler and Wade Robertson, committed suicide. Both were estranged from their sons at the time. In a 2002 documentary, Living with Michael Jackson, Jackson told Martin Bashir there was nothing wrong with sharing his bed with boys. Okay, correction. I think he's correcting the suicide story, saying that due to an editing error, an early version of the story misidentified the father of one of Jackson's accusers, Wade Robertson's father, not Jimmy Safechuck's, committed suicide. We regret the error. So, ladies and gentlemen, trying to get this together. But as you can see, according to Vanity Fair, and I'm trying to flip this slide. Here we go. And again, I'm going to read this. Okay, here are 10 undeniable facts about the sexual abuse allegations against Michael Jackson. Undeniable. But, as you can see, they extorted Michael Jackson since day one. And, you know, the parents take trips to Vegas. Some get diamond bracelets out of this mess. And it's realistically, it's saddening what the Jackson family's going through right now. So, in my theory with this, it says that, you know, really the jury had acquitted Michael Jackson twice. And still they're going after this man, even in his death. Even after his death. So, ladies and gentlemen, tell me what you think about this. Share this story. Like, share, subscribe my YouTube channel for all the news and commentary. With that being said, this is Lions Den signing off. Deuces.